What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy J Strike 3000, and we just got finished with the Avatar fighting game beta that I didn't get into because I was busy playing Tokon like a bum. But while the beta was out, I was checking out some footage and it looks kind of fire. This game has more sauce than should be allowed. After seeing that this game is actually kind of fire and I might have to play it next year, it's been giving me ideas about the upcoming roster and who's gonna be in it. I'm an Avatar fan. I watch both shows. I am a Korra defender, and I think that gives me some legitimacy into making this roster that you are about to see. Now, the game has already announced that it has 12 playable characters, 7 so far have been announced, and that there will be future DLC. All of that has been announced. It's real. It's official. Now, how much DLC? I have no idea. This game doesn't strike me as like AAA super supported title, but DLC is on the way, so no need to fear. And not only are we talking playable characters, but we're also talking about supports. This game lets you choose supporting characters that change the attributes of the playable characters that you get, which is fire, which is sort of like another game that I'll bring up at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. But before we start talking about future roster picks, let's talk about who's actually in the game. All right, so first up, the beta itself has 4 playable characters. You got Aang, Zuko, Katara, and I'm an Avatar fan. I watch both shows. I am a Korra defender. Korra, almost forgot. For Aang support, you got Appa, Momo, and Gyatso, who is the monk that raised him, which I think is kind of cool. For Katara support, you got Kana, her grandma, Paku, her waterbending master, and Hakoda, which is their father, which to me feels like more of a Sokka support, but we'll get into it. We'll get into who he has. For Korra, we got Naga, Tonrak, her father, and then Rava, which is like the Avatar spirit. Not my favorite season of Korra, by the way. Season 2, not my favorite season, but I understand it. And then for Zuko, we got June, the 2 dragons that he learned that dance with, and Mai, which is a little crazy. We're putting Mai as a support. I think she could have been playable, but you know, whatever. And then those are the 4 characters that are currently in the beta with their full supports revealed. Other playable characters are Toph, Sokka, and Azula, which, you know, obvious picks, pretty clear picks to put in a fighting game. There's not a lot of non-benders that I would have in a fighting game for Avatar, so Sokka is going to be very unique. This is a very movement heavy game, and I don't know if Sokka has that kind of movement, that kind of swag that the rest of the cast has. I'm very interested to see what his moveset is going to look like. I know Boomerang is going to be involved. In terms of supports, I was thinking about, like, since he's not going to have his father, I was thinking like the mechanic from that one episode where he works with the guy, Yue, the moon spirit girl. I feel like she's kind of important to Sokka lore. And then Piando, that sword master with the White Lotus that taught Sokka how to fight with a sword in season 3. If we're not gonna give him his father, I think those are pretty good picks. Those would be my picks personally. Now, what they would do for his moveset, I have no idea. I have no idea what a moveset for these characters would look like. I'm sure they're gonna do a fantastic job though. Azula was a little weird and a little more deep cut. Some of these supports are actually really deep cuts, so it's like not a huge surprise. But Azula doesn't have a lot of supporting cast surrounding her most of the time, so it's kind of hard to pick for this. I did want Ty Lee to be a playable character, but if we're not putting Mai as a playable character, I don't think we're getting Ty Lee. Those 2 old advisors that she has in like the earlier seasons, Lo and Lin, I think those are going to be supports, just sitting in the background yapping. And then I don't know, like some Fire Nation guys. Put some Fire Nation guys as the assists. Toph also doesn't have like a whole lot to pull from as her like assists or support characters. Moveset wise, I want her to be very ground based, obviously, for obvious reasons. A lot of characters that are in the beta right now are very like have a lot of air movement or air dashing and moving real fast through the air, zip zap zoom. I want somebody that feels heavy, and I think it'd be very ironic and fitting if Toph just felt heavy and connected to the ground. Now, how it would work gameplay wise, I have no idea, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. That's not for me to figure out. That's for those guys to figure out. As far as supports, As far as supports go, I would really love Melon Lord. If Melon Lord was one of them, peak. You can also have like the Swamp Monster or like the Swamp Guys would be a cool support for Toph. I think she was in that episode, like her spirit was in that episode, so that would be like very fitting if they were like a support for her. And then I don't know, like add the boulder. Everybody loves the boulder. Well, I think that'd be very fitting for like a tie-in to her actual introduction where she actually showed up in the show. Or like one of those big old moles. I forget what kind of animal they were. The big moles with the earthbending, one of them. That's 4 for them to pick from. I'll be having good ideas sometimes. All right, so going forward, all new playable characters, all new support characters. Let's get into it. All right, so first up, I think it's been made very clear that Iroh's getting into this game. If Iroh was gonna be a playable fighting game character, he would definitely be in a support for Zuko. That's the first thing I saw. I said if Iroh isn't a support for Zuko, he is in the game for sure. Now the supports were kind of tough until I remembered that he is part of the White Lotus, so he would have like the other White Lotus members as his supports, like Zhong Zhong, maybe Boomy, maybe a third that I can't think of that isn't already in the game. Maybe that guy that gives him the tea shop, or like a tea shop worker, somebody with tea. He has to have that tea, it powers him up. I think it'd be very funny if the tea support was way better than the White Lotus supports. Just made him extremely cracked with the tea. With the tea person in the background, just turns him into like a top tier. Next I got Ozai. I feel like you can't have a fighting game without the big bad. You gotta have the big bad. You gotta have the villains in here, and I think Ozai is like the best villain, the best Avatar villain, maybe. As far as supports go, that's where I start scratching my head a little. We really gotta go deep into the bag. Definitely Commander Zhao. You gotta have Zhao. He's such a big part of season 1 of Avatar that I think he would definitely be a support. Maybe Ursa. Is that disrespectful to say? That is his wife, sorta. Is that kind of crazy to say? Maybe we should swap Azula and Ozai's support. He would have like some Fire Nation soldiers and she would have Ursa. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be a kind of cool nod to that. And I don't know, Azulon, his father, even though he is barely in the show, I have no idea who else would be a support for Ozai. I'm really trying to think here. Next up I got Tenzin, because Tenzin is fire. Tenzin is cool. I love Tenzin. And I think he has enough in his own personal kit to make him different than Aang. Based off what I've seen of the beta, I think there's enough in his kit from the show to make him different than the Aang we get in the game. For Tenzin, I think his supports would be his kids. All 3 of his kids as one support would go crazy. His wife, Pema. How could I forget about Pema? And also for a 3rd support, Beifong fans may hate me. I think it might be Lin. I think Lin might be a support for Tenzin. No cap. Sorry Beifong fans. It's over for you. You may be wondering, we need a metal bending representation. We'll get to that soon. Just give me a second though. Up next I got Amon, which will be technically, on a technicality, the 2nd non-bender in the game. Technically, but also not technically. Since I'm not adding Ty Lee as a playable character, I think it'd be cool to have him as like a chi blocking type character who would take away, maybe add some like debuffs to the game. Maybe in his super he does like a blood bending thing, cool little like break your bones type joint. But other than that, no bending. Maybe a little bit of electricity that the Equalists use in the show, but no bending. And then his supports would be very standard. He would have like his lieutenant guy that doesn't have a name. Actually, I don't know what his name is. I looked it up and it just says the lieutenant, so I guess that's just what they call him. You got his brother Tarlok. Yeah, his brother. We're getting into spoilers. I don't know, maybe some Equalist soldiers or something. Maybe that one guy that's standing on the box on the street that's hyping up the Equalists in like the 1st episode. Maybe that guy. I just need Amon to be playable. That's all I really need. And then lastly, for the base roster, because we're already at 11. I don't know if you have counted so far or not, but we're already at 11. For the 12th person in this roster, I think we need to also add Zahir. That's right, 3 airbenders in the game. And the reason I really like Zahir is because he's such a cool ass character, but also it make a lot more sense for his supports to be the Red Lotus, each of the Red Lotus members. There's a lot of teams of 4 in the Avatar show. I don't know if you realize. Zahir being able to fly, I think would be kind of fire as a mechanic for your fighting game. I'm not gonna float cancels, flying cancels. Oh, buddy. We're talking about movement in a game about movement. Oh, buddy. So that would be my base roster if I got the pick, if I got to choose. Me personally, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of airbending going on in this roster, but I think that's fine. I think they all perform various different things in their movesets. You may be asking yourself, where are the waterbenders? Take that up with Team Avatar. They don't give me enough cool ones. Now it's on for the DLC. First wave DLC, and honestly, the only wave of DLC that I'm predicting. I don't know how much support this game is going to get past release. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I do want to make one DLC pass, 4 characters, 4 additional characters. Let's get it popping. We need to have both of the brothers. We need to have both of the brothers. If we're talking Team Avatar and Legend of Korra, we have to have the brothers, Bolin and Mako. Bolin and Mako. In terms of adding Bolin, I think there's just not enough earthbenders to have a lot of focus in the show. I also think lava bending is kind of cool. We can add that in some way. For his supports, I got Pabu, Varric, and Julie, which are fan favorite characters. Everybody love them. And then Opal, his girlfriend, at the end of Legend of Korra. I think Bolin has like a lot of supporting cast actually that could be his supports, because he also has that girlfriend that was in that movie. I forget her name. And then he also has that weird ass relationship with Eska in season 2. He be having girlfriends. Stop playing with my boy Bolin. And then Mako is kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a character, I think he's I'm asleep. But in a fighting game, I think a boxer is kind of cool. Firebending boxer is kind of cool. I envision like an Ed mixed with a Vi, but with fire instead of psycho power. You follow it. You see what I'm. You see where I'm. You're looking at me. You're looking at me. You see what I'm saying? Have I unlocked your mind? Have I unlocked your brain into the potential of Mako? And then for his supports, I got Kai, that little airbender that he was spending time with in season 3 and 4. I do have Asami as a support. Unfortunately, sorry Asami Nation, I apologize greatly. And I also got his grandmother, to which he still wears that scarf, that funk booty scarf. Suki will also be one of the other non-benders in the game. I think Kyoshi Warriors have a cool potential for a moveset with the fans and all that. Y'all see the vision. Y'all see the vision. I know you do. In terms of supports, it gets kind of tough. It gets a little tough. I think maybe like a group of the Kyoshi Warriors, or like a specific other one that I can't remember at the time, could be one of these supports. I think Avatar Kyoshi herself would be a support for Suki. It is her group. It is her team. They are her warriors. And then her final support could be Ty Lee. If Mai's not in the game playable, I don't think Ty Lee's in the game playable. Plus, we already got like a chi blocking fighter with Amon. I think it's over, Ty Lee fans. I think you're done for. I think you're cooked. For the final character that I think needs to be in this game, I think Kuvira has a shot. I think Kuvira has a chance. I think a metal bender needs to be in the game, and I think it needs to be Kuvira. A lot of people would say it should be Lin Beifong. Even some of the supports are kind of similar between the two, but I think Kuvira just has that sauce. Now, Kuvira's supports it was the hardest to pick from. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no idea who'd be hanging around with Kuvira. Other than Patar Jr., ain't nobody hanging around Kuvira like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. We could get a little creative and also add Suyin, who is Lin's sister. She did take in Kuvira and help raise her a little bit, but things obviously didn't work out for the better. At first I was thinking maybe a giant robot just be in the background, but I was like, there's no way. It's too big. It's too big. Maybe the spirit cannon. Maybe like a spirit cannon could be in the background. I think that would be hard. That'd be tough, but it would like cover the screen. Maybe you just add Batar Senior just cause. I don't know if they have a relationship at all, but you know, whatever. And there you have it. That's gonna be my roster predictions for Avatar the fighting game. Right here. Over here, the full thing. And when I say predictions, I mean what's really gonna happen, because I'm always right, as we all know. I'm really looking forward to this game. I really dig the support system, which reminds me a lot of the groove system in CVS 2. If there ever is a CVS 3 that comes out, I want it to move like this Avatar fighting game right here. Street Fighter and SNK have already put out their big strike throw 1v1 games. CVS 3 might need a little extra movement to make it different, to make it interesting, to make it cool. I don't think either of those companies want to put out a game that conflicts with their current game that they're still pushing right now. I don't think Street Fighter and Fatal Fury are ending anytime soon. But yeah, definitely gonna be checking this game out. Definitely gonna be checking out Marvel Tokon. We're gonna have to have an awkward conversation about 2026 fighting game of the year. But there you have it. That's gonna be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do all the stuff the YouTubers say to do with the internet videos, like comment, subscribe, hit the notification, blah 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 blah, all that stuff the YouTubers say to do with the internet video. Do it for my video because I would appreciate it. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.